Hi guys, today we are going to be answering the $1,000,000 question of how much the price of XRP can go up to um, with the help of Bearable, Boo, and CoinClub Crypto. I'm gonna be linking their YouTube channels into the description down below for you to check them. Both of them are very credible, very um, they're very resourceful and with very rich background in crypto and finance. Um, without further ado, let's play.
Hello, everybody. I'm extremely excited for our special guest that we have today, the one, the only Mr. Jump onto the scene and take the world by storm, Quincy Jones. I would like to introduce you to our audience. For some of you that may not know Quincy, can you just introduce yourself very quickly and give a little bit of a background, my brother?
Hey guys, what's up? And I'm Quincy, and I kind of burst onto the scene a couple months ago. I traditionally a cloud developer who branched into blockchain through one of the companies I was working with, and I traditionally ended up working on technologies like Ethereum, a little bit of blockchain, but then started moving over towards XRP, XDC, Corda, XLM, Algorand, and a few other technologies based on what we were doing. And then I kind of ended up breaking onto the scene after coming on to another YouTuber. I think it was Matty G, and kind of just spiraled on from there. And now I currently am a XDC Foundation developer, and I'm currently supporting the XDC network. I helped build out smart contracts, and I helped build out different SDKs and beta test different applications that we'll have coming out. And I'm also a YouTuber because people like what I have to say and how I explain the technology from the developer's point of view. And I have a YouTube channel called CoinClub Crypto that you can come check out. And I just basically explain the different technological aspects of all the different all your favorite tokens and all your favorite networks. And I just break it down to you just like any of your friends would, but from the developer's point of view. So.
I think from the credible point of view, because because most people they don't see things from the eyes and brain.
Just gonna pause it for a bit because I have to do something very urgently. Alright, so guys, literally I had to move funds from KuCoin to what was that, BitTrue, I believe, because I don't know why I did it on BitTrue. Oh no, Bybit. But there was some reason behind it. Don't ask me what. So basically, I've moved some XOM to Bybit to trade on leverage, and I did open a position, but just to make sure that it doesn't wick down XOM, because the market at the moment is going, Black Friday style as well. Again, so I just wanted to make sure, because these markets are so manipulated, and so often the big money are just seeing where the orders are and just wick down to touch your order and close it. And I'm waiting for the price to go as down as possible, because I've opened leveraged position on XOM long, but it's in the negative at the moment. But I'm waiting for the price to go as down as possible, and as long as I'm confident that we can see some more solid bottom, because obviously the prices are just keep tumbling down. But I believe the bottom is very, very close. So if I'm able to open a long position just now on any asset basically, but I don't know why I chose XOM. Anyway, so we'll see how that goes. But basically, I need to make some gymnastics to move some funds from KuCoin to Bybit. What's it Bybit? So confused now. I've got so many exchanges now that I'm overwhelmed, and there is so much news in the market and so much stuff to. I'm building my website, as you know, probably. If you don't, it's daytradingedge.co.uk. Have a look at it. There is free. There is a free subscription newsletter, which is very valuable. But yeah, let's carry on. Let's not move too far away from the initial goal of the video. So it's 5 minutes already in. Anyway, let's keep playing the video.
The brain that you have, because you literally go underneath the hood and give us the what's happenings, if you will, underneath the engine of all these projects, you know. Myself included, I'm not a tech dude. My technical nitty gritty knowledge of a lot of these things is limited, right? So having you here to explain truly what's going on behind the scenes is invaluable to all of us. And before we continue, I just have to say again, thank you, my brother, for being here. It's really going to be a pleasure. But you know, me and Quincy, before we started this, we were talking offline quite a bit, and we were talking about derivatives specifically when it comes to XRP. Now, I know we went into the deep conversation already, but I know especially for the people attending today, let's go to town on that again, because even myself, when I heard you talk and how excited you were about it, I got excited, right? So that's all that matters.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things I wanted to hammer in that we spoke a little earlier were well, there's two big things about XRP that ends up being like really, really unique than any other network. And it's one, that it itself is a decentralized exchange, and two, it has its rippling algorithm that allows for the maximum amount of liquidity between assets by being able to find sort of like midway transaction for the shortest amount of liquidity between different illiquid assets. And the biggest thing about that ends up being really interesting that people don't really look forward to is all the assets on the XRP ledger are derivatives themselves. And when they think of derivatives, they think of typically like the traditional derivatives market, the intangible, hundreds of trillions of dollars of whatever derivatives, but they also don't think of the general concept of a derivative, because you're also going to end up getting, just like you would have like an options contract or a futures contract or whatever, you could also end up having a options or a futures contract of a blockchain of another token. And this isn't used to anybody else. You can already see Bitcoin and Ethereum on there. But the main thing that makes a derivative is typically there's some form of delivery of the underlying asset at the end of the day. If you get a gold derivative, you could hypothetically get delivery of some sort of gold. This ends up being great on the XRP ledger, because obviously you can just essentially have your derivative, and the idea would be is if you redeem that derivative for the gold piece, it'd be like a submission process, and you do that. But the thing that's really cool is you can essentially do the same thing when it comes to other blockchain networks and their derivative tokens on the XRP ledger. So one example I gave was let's say, and this is actually something I'm actually diving into. So let's say I had a smart contract on the XDC network, and through a side chain operating off the Ethereum virtual machine, I'm able to have that XDC smart contract communicate with the XRP ledger and be able to make different XRP commands. And let's say every time I stored a XDC token in the XDC contract, I'm able to create a wrapped XDC token on the XRP ledger. Well, this ends up being really great, because if I end up having a lot of capital on XRP, and let's say I ended up doing this for multiple networks, so let's say I did this not only for XDC, but I also did this for Algorand, maybe even Ethereum too. Well, the idea would be is that I could have a lot of capital in XRP, and then I can get delivery for executions for smart contracts on different networks by being able to take that wrap token, send it to the original XRP address that minted it, be able to have the functionality of it being able to have the functionality of sending a memo of the delivery address of the network you want to send it to. So if you send a wrapped XDC address to this XRP address with the memo saying a contract address of the token you want to send it to, you're able to essentially have delivery of a derivative of a off-chain token on the XRP network that can make delivery of that on-chain token to a smart contract on that other network. And what ends up being great about this is just like derivatives for the traditional markets, but this ends up being almost entirely programmatic with
Mm.
these crypto markets. So what ends up being great is, and the example I like to give is, if I had $100 with XRP and I'm operating an application that's running off the XRP ledger, Ethereum, XDC, Algorand, maybe a couple other networks, because people I'm working with work on those networks too. And I need liquidity into any given network for an application that may need liquidity in that native token. I can go from XRP to that derivative, take that derivative, send it to whoever I issued it to, have that issuance be able to send the actual native token on that network and be able to make that execution across networks. And that's the thing, being able to do that allows you to take something as simple as capital on, let's say, Algorand, move that into a wrapped Algorand on the XRP ledger, take that, have that moved into the wrapped XDC, and then make a delivery on the XDC network, essentially taking capital from one network, moving it through XRP, and making an execution on an entirely separate network, essentially almost instantly, based off of the different executions and even the consensus between networks.
Interesting. So because and the thing that really like spoke to me when you were discussing this is that a lot of us, we've been speculating that XRP can in fact tap into the derivatives market, and I believe there have been plenty of individuals that have been uncovering the connections Ripple has with like the DTCC, and I believe Solomon came up with a document that said any technology that may be implemented in as far as changing the infrastructure needs to be 2 to 3 times faster, or handle 2 to 3 times more volume than peak hours, and that would be 20,000 transactions a second. Well, XRP is one of those assets that fulfills those needs. So when we see,
argue that it would be, sorry about that.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I would actually argue that it would need to be 10x, maybe 50x that peak hours on in these traditional finance markets. And the reason for that is, so like I stated before about the derivatives, in terms of traditional finance derivatives, crypto derivatives, like derivatives of other tokens. But one thing, and I really want to dive in here too, because I'm actually kind of making a string of videos about this, and actually sort of dealing with a project that deals with this firsthand. But you're also going to have the commodification of data itself. And you may have tokens that may be associated to certain smart contracts that may unlock certain data. So let's say you had a certain smart contract that was a portfolio contract, and that portfolio contract on whatever network had a token associated with it. And any person that may possess this token can either grant access to that data to somebody or access the data themselves. Well, that token itself may itself be a commodity, like literally may itself be a commodity in which at some point in the future, somebody may need to pay to access some data in this contract, and somebody out there may go out there and buy us a bunch of these data tokens, whether this is a big data company or whatever, it could be anybody. Same way people go, oh, they're selling your data. Well, they can essentially tokenize that too, commodify it, and trade it. So just like you have traditional derivatives markets and crypto derivatives markets, you'll also have commodified data tokenized markets that can also reside in the XRP ledger. So when you start looking at these, you start going, holy cow, like these markets end up being way bigger than we can ever even fathom. And the reason for that is it's not that they don't already exist. They're there. It's just hard to calculate them. So in terms of the data market, most of the data that we deal with out there is held on cloud servers. So the closest way we can essentially evaluate how much the data is worth on those servers is how much money those companies make. But that's the thing, though. What if you're able to take that value that those companies are able to make by being able to add these different storage features and different computational features, and that value moves from those companies into.
Just gonna stop it again for a while.